Every year as it gets colder, North American monarch butterflies migrate south between August and October. A monarch can travel over 100 miles in a single day with the right conditions. Citizen science volunteers provide most of the available data about monarch migrations. For decades, community scientists have been collecting data by tracking, counting, and photographing monarchs on the move and overwintering. It's how we know that monarch populations have declined dramatically since the 1980s. More than 80% of the world's flowering plants need a pollinator to reproduce, and we need pollinators too, since most of our food comes from flowering plants. 1 out of every 3 bites of our food, including fruits, vegetables, chocolate, coffee, nuts, and spices, are all created with the help of pollinators. Pollinators assist with plant reproduction by helping to move pollen within or between flowers. Thus, pollinators play a crucial role in supporting local biodiversity. When we talk about conserving pollinators, like other animals, they mostly need food and shelter. With insect pollinators, the larvae of many species have a very narrow range of foods. Like monarch butterfly larvae caterpillars, preferred food are milkweeds, and whether it's birds, bats, or insects, all pollinators need appropriate nesting sites. Whether they're located on the ground or in a cavity, like a tree, migratory pollinators also require overwintering sites. However, for the past 25 years, many species of bees and other pollinators have experienced large drops in numbers. The habitats that pollinators need in order to survive are shrinking, as native vegetation is replaced by roadways, manicured lawns, crops and non-native gardens. Pollinators lose the food and nesting sites that are necessary for their survival. Remaining patches of prairie and meadow have become more disconnected. That makes it harder for pollinators to reach new breeding sites or find better habitat. Invasive plants crowd out native ones, reducing food and shelter for pollinators. Disease-causing organisms including viruses, fungi and bacteria can spread from non-native to native pollinators. Other stressors, such as poor nutrition and pesticide exposure, may intensify the effect of diseases. Flowers are blooming earlier as temperatures warm, costing some pollinators the opportunity to feed. Some insects feed only on specific plants. If these blooms die before insects arrive, the insects go hungry and fewer plants get pollinated. Fragments can become too small to sustain pollinator communities or too isolated to attract a large diversity of pollinators. Our landscape has been chopped up or fragmented through urban and suburbanization. The problem is, we can no longer support sustainable populations of wildlife in our isolated parks and preserves alone. Luckily, there is a solution. If we begin to manage our own yards organically and with native plantings, we can use them to connect parks and preserves, creating crucial corridors for wildlife. That is the idea behind the Pollinator Pathway. So how can you create a pollinator micro-habitat in your own backyard? First, choose the right native plants for your backyard. When choosing native plants, aim for keystone species. Avoid buying plants or seeds that are pre-treated with insecticides. Provide water sources for pollinators. Rethink mowing your entire lawn. Use apps like eNaturalist to identify which weeds are beneficial for pollinators and mow around those species. Mulch your lawn with natural alternatives like leaves. Add in a hummingbird feeder with homemade nectar. For more information and ideas on all the steps you can take to create a garden that not only looks beautiful, but also benefits pollinators and beneficial insects, check out the Pollinator Pathway website. Not only does creating a native and biodiverse garden benefit your local ecosystems, but these benefits extend to you. Native plants are an anchor of healthy and biodiverse ecological communities. Biodiversity is important because it both provides and regulates the ecosystem function. Wildlife support the ecosystems. We rely on food, clean air and water, and a stable atmosphere. Rethink your backyard today and create a pollinator pathway.